hold it here in Terminal 4. Find out about that TV station.
Yeah, were you headed to the city?
And find out if there's
I carried a lot of my family on this trip, and Cuba was everything and nothing that I had dreamed of. It was amazing. It was beautiful.
It was wild. It was a great time. Got to learn a lot, and like I said, got to really understand my identity, which before this time was not complete.
The trip was unbelievable. 10 Cuban Americans who didn't know each other, traveling the countryside, really connected. We had the opportunity to see the Cuban spirit, like all the characteristics in full bloom.
10 participants embarked on a journey to Cuba in order to explore more of their Cuban ancestry and connect their lives in America to their past in Cuba.
CubaOne Foundation is an organization that helps young people in the United States connect with their heritage in Cuba by meeting their peers on the island, reconnecting with family that lives there, and exploring their culture through high-impact trips to Cuba.
On CubaOne's trips, we take a 7-day itinerary, and it starts with what Cuba is. We go to Panada Rio, we get on a horseback, we go through tobacco fields, we go to Havana, we get in these convertible old classic cars and drive around the city. It's just a tremendous amount of Cuba, very quickly.
Co-founders Daniel Jimenez and Giancarlo Sopo founded CubaOne in order to give Cuban Americans the opportunity to intertwine their Cuban culture with their American upbringing.
I started this program after going to Cuba and realizing how intricate and complicated the island is. I went after going and meeting people that I didn't know, that I'm related to, and that have been such a part of my life, even though I grew up here in Miami. And I really wanted to bring that as an opportunity and a gift to my peers.
The Freedom Tower, an important landmark for Cuban Americans across the United States, is a beacon of hope for Cubans immigrating into Miami.
The Freedom Tower, for so many people in our community, it's like their own Statue of Liberty. It's the place where people came, where they received assistance when they came to this country. It's a symbolic place now that helped new immigrants in the 1960s, and now it's helping to transform. It's attracting some of the most dynamic and intelligent young people in South Florida. And it's a source of inspiration for lots of young entrepreneurs, and it continues to be a source of inspiration for a lot of new immigrants.
The Freedom Tower has this amazing significance in Miami. It's our Ellis Island as Cuban Americans. I mean, it brought hope to so many people that were coming to America from Cuba for the first time. You drive down Biscayne Boulevard right outside of downtown Miami, and you see this amazing building that's 1920s architecture. It's a beacon of hope for us.
Participants for CubaOne are chosen through a lengthy selection process where applicants are judged based on how they can benefit the program and themselves through their experiences in Cuba.
So we've had over 1,700 people have applied to our program. Most of those are all between the ages of 20 to 30. And we have a selection process that looks at their application. We just try to match people based on their interest in Cuba, what it is that they hope to accomplish with the trip. And we try to have a diverse class that can gain a lot from the experience. But we also look for people who have new and interesting ideas of ways that they can engage the Cuban people in a way that's permissible both by US law and Cuban law. We think that dialogue and that engagement is important both for the long-term trajectory of South Florida and the United States, but also for Cuba.
The participants were able to connect their ancestry and form relationships with family that they never thought they'd be able to meet.
They're being able to take things that were before in black and white photos and actually see them up close in person and to form a tangible relationship with Cuba and its people. That's going to have a tremendous impact here on South Florida and throughout the lives of our participants.
In the end, it's about coming back, and I think for our participants and for Cuban Americans that visit Cuba, it's not just a vacation. It's about a continuation of that. So the last day is really about reflection. What does this mean for me and my family? How can I bring my experience back to them? And then what can I do to bring Cuba back to the United States and bring the United States to Cuba?
When the participants arrived back in Miami, they were overjoyed and filled with emotion as they recounted their experiences from the trip.
It's just, I've never been able to connect with my history and my ancestry in such a strong, tangible way.
This trip to me really answered a lot of questions that had always been unanswered, had always been a mystery in regards to the island, in regards to family, my roots. I had the opportunity of meeting my family for the very first time, which is something I will never ever forget.
It all went through the roof. Like, I could not have asked for a better type of experience to see where my family is from.
There is no singular Cuban American experience. People's families came over under different circumstances at different times, and it was really enriching to find out the specific individuality that really reflects in every one person's story. And I feel like we kind of all came together to make one mosaic story, and it was really beautiful.